Somebody said, how are you single? I don't get it. Girl, let me tell you something. What is the diversity like? Like, I'm not this overly hyper political, conservative, Southern Christian girl with an accent trying to discern whether or not to rush. That was a very traumatic night. Is Baylor a solid Christian university? This one's hard. I've been to a party. I didn't like it. Someone said, can I go to church with you? If I had to pick a sorority that I would join, I would say, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heike. If you are new here, welcome to the channel, and I hope you stick around. Today is a very special video because I will be answering your guys' questions that you have about anything college related, specifically Baylor University related, since I go there. I'm going to be a third-year student this upcoming fall, and I got into the business school this last spring, so I am really excited to be starting business classes and all of that. I also have a few other positions that I hold while I'm on campus, so I'm going to be answering any and all questions that you guys sent to me through my Instagram. But before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos every week. Let's get into the video. Also, as you can see, I am not in any of my usual spaces. This is my roommate's room that she graciously let me use as my little studio for the day. Shout out to Gianna, I love you. There are a lot of cats in here though. Not sure how I feel about that. I'm not an animal person, but you know, she literally, guys, this is a taxidermy, I like to call it, of one of her prized cats, Thomas Elijah Foster, right here. So, you know, can't miss them. Let's get into the video for real this time. So I'm going to be answering all the questions you guys sent me. I got a really wide and good range of questions here. Just really good list right here. So first question, what is the process like to enroll in the Baylor Business School? Let me tell you, especially towards the end, I was struggling a lot, okay? I was struggling. I mean, it depends on who you talk to, but for me at least, it wasn't an easy process. There was a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulties that came with it. In the end, it was all worth it because I can't really see myself doing any other field here at Baylor, and Baylor's known to have one of the more prestigious quality type business schools in the country, and so I was dying to get a spot in the business school. I just finished my first 2 years, and those first 2 years you're considered pre-business if you went the traditional route of coming to Baylor your first year and then going through all those courses. I can give you a brief overview of what it takes to get into the business school right now. You have your first year requirements, and so there are a list of classes that you have to take by the end of your first year, and that also includes the summer after your first year's over, and you have to get a C or higher in all of those classes in order to continue to proceed within the process of the business school. There are some other courses after your first year that you have to take in order to qualify, so you have to take them before you get into the business school as well, and then you have to get a C or higher in those classes. There are other processes, routes you can take to get into the business school, especially if you are transferring or if you decide to become a business fellow, which they're built different, okay? They don't play around. They're like an advanced level of business, and I think they like skip a couple of steps in order to get into the business school. So you have to be like very highly ranked in a lot of different scores and merits in order to become a business fellow. It's a big deal, but I didn't qualify for that. I don't even think I attempted to qualify for that, so I'm just happy I'm in. That's all I'm happy about, okay? I prayed a lot, especially towards the end. There was this one class that the final of that class determined whether I got into the entire business school or not, because A, I had to pass that class because it was part of the requirements to be able to go into the business school, and B, the final had so much weight that if I failed the final, I wouldn't have gotten into the business school in general, because I would have failed the class, and in order to get into the business school I had to pass that class. So it was a lot. I like walked in that final test with a lot of faith because that was also my last final of the year. Barely passed the final, but I made it, okay? I made it and I'm here. So I'm excited to see what the business school has to offer in that sense. That was a bit long. Hopefully my next answers aren't as long as that. What is your ideal course load, especially with a job? So for those who don't know, I have an on-campus job. I work at the dining hall on campus, and I work around 16 hours a week. The maximum hours I can work a week are 20 under the federal The maximum hours I can work a week are 20 hours under the federal work study law. I'm under federal work study, and I have a video on that if you guys want to see it on my channel. I'll probably do a refined version of that video because I think I have more information to add, and I think I can clear some stuff up. For the rest of my time here, I have to take 16 hours a semester in order to graduate with the minimum amount of hours, because I kind of screwed myself over my first 2 years and took less hours than I should have. So it kind of messed up my whole schedule for the year, and so now I'm kind of like on a very constricting schedule if I want to graduate on time. So I wouldn't recommend doing 16 hours a week of work and 16 hours of school. Like, I would decrease the amount of time spent on either one or the other if you're planning to do that, and if you're planning to do other activities outside of that as well. I mean, everyone's different, everyone can tolerate different workloads, but for me, I wish I was a lot smarter and a lot wiser with the amount of hours I committed to during my freshman year. For me, it works. Like, I have no choice but to deal with it, and I have no choice but to adapt to it. I don't really have any other option. It's like you do or you die. It's like survival mode, or this is all that you can do, so you better just do it, or you're gonna like friggin' not graduate on time. So I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. That's kind of my course load. I wish it was different, but there's nothing I can do about it. Next question is, what is the diversity like? I think I kind of know what you mean by diversity, but I want to expand on that a bit. If you're talking about race, it is a majority white school. If you're talking about religion, it's a majority Christian-based school. It's a Christian university. Private Christian university is what they like to call themselves. Socioeconomic status, that varies. I think that varies more than I expected it to. It's not just wealthy people here, aka I'm one of those people. Okay, I'm not rich, I'm not any of that, and I thought I was gonna be the only one that wasn't. I didn't realize how much of a bond I could create with people who were like sort of the same socioeconomic status as me. Like, we kind of have the same mindset and outlook on things. Most of the time, a lot of us do work, and I value like work ethic and all of that, and the friendships I have, and like drive to want to create a future for yourself that's like different from the one you grew up in. So I really value people who like work hard and can sustain themselves financially. I really found a nice bond there. That was a tangent, I'm sorry. In terms of political climate, honestly, I couldn't tell you that one. I thought it would be like a majority conservative political climate, but you really get half and half here. I think for me, my perspective is different because I am mostly in conservative or politically conservative circles, and I do have a position in a politically conservative organization. So a lot of my circles and a lot of the people I'm around are politically conservative, but you go outside that circle and you realize like there are more politically or ideologically progressive / liberal people here, and so you get a wide range of a lot of different things here on campus. It may not be all that you think it is in terms of diversity and stuff like that, but for what I will say, especially for those who don't fit into those majority categories, there are people for everyone here. You just have to be very intentional about finding those people, inserting yourself into different clubs and organizations that cater to those ideologies or attributes or characteristics that you value, whether politically, racially, ethnicity wise. Join those and be intentional about meeting people in those clubs that you think share similarities with you in those aspects. You'll find the people that you're looking for, basically. I would encourage people to venture outside of what they know and what they believe and talk to different kinds of people. I've had conversations with so many different types of people. Politically, like, I'm politically conservative. I've talked to people who lean more to the left, and I've had really enriching and enlightening and humbling sometimes conversations, and it's been great. So I would encourage anyone to do that. Even at Baylor, as like undiverse as it could sound to some people, like, you can find opportunities to do all of that. So I would encourage that for anyone. Best advice for incoming Baylor freshmen. This one's different. I think last year I would have said something different, but I think this year I'm gonna say something different. Okay, and this is probably advice that you're gonna hear anywhere, I guess, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out of your comfort zone if you want any sort of memorable or valuable experience from this. You cannot sit back and be scared to make friends or be scared to express yourself if you're just like in your room, not willing to put any effort to go out there and be intentional about making an experience and making close relationships out of this. I hear a lot of people who I know aren't the best at like going out there. I'm included in that are like, oh my gosh, no one wants to be my friend, nobody wants to talk to me, like everyone's going out and doing stuff and I'm not. But it's like you're literally in your room 24/7 doing your homework, not going out there and making those experiences happen. If you want something, I realize like if you want something, you can't wait for other people to come to you or to do it for you. You have to go out there and chase that yourself. Whether it's an opportunity, a friendship, a relationship even, or like anything like that, you have to go out there and get it. You can't rely on other people to do that. I knew that I was responsible for making the most out of my time here, and I would encourage anyone else to do the same. Branching off of that, like take advantage of all the opportunities that you will get while being at Baylor or just any university you're going to. There are so many opportunities and resources afforded to you here that even I wish I took advantage of my first 2 years, that I'm going to definitely take advantage of my last 2 years here, especially like in the business world, like networking with different people that are in the career field that you desire to go into, meeting people in these different organizations that you hope to work with like later on in life, or that you will think help you into making a step closer towards your goals. Take advantage of all the different memories you could make, like with your friends, like go to the football games, go to all of the late night sessions, go to all of the events and concerts, especially the ones that Baylor puts on that are free. Like there's so many different ways to spend your time here that are not like school or anything where you have to like work. Even if it's not Baylor hosting anything, like get creative and like get some friends, go out in the middle of the night and like do whatever. College is literally the time to like do the things that you couldn't do at home while still being safe, and like enjoying yourself and like making the most out of it, making memories that you'll remember. All of this comes with you being ready to like put yourself out there and initiate these things and be intentional and chase these things yourself. They're not gonna fall in your lap, and I wish somebody told me that early on, because once I started to know that and realize that, I really took advantage of all of those things. And to kind of wrap that up, you need to just be yourself. Like, and I mean like don't try to fit in and conform to what the ideal Baylor girl looks like, or Baylor guy, or even the ideal Christian girl or Christian guy looks like. If that's not you, don't waste your time trying to conform and be that. Especially my first 2 years here, like I really tried to conform into being like the ideal conservative Christian girl, Southern girl. I'm from the West Coast. Okay, the West Coast is very different from the South. It took me up to like literally 2 weeks ago to realize like I will never be the ideal aesthetic like Southern conservative Christian girl. Like that's just not me. And so I have made it a point to stop trying to fit into that mold and just simply be an individual and be who God created me to be. And I think that there's a lot more freedom in trying to do that than trying to fit into this box that you kind of feel pressure to fit into here. I won't lie. Like there are a lot of people who do act and look and do the same things. It's hard not to fall into that mold of things, but it's just, you're gonna waste your time and you're gonna just miss out on the opportunities, friendships, and relationships that are meant for you because of who you are instead of who you're trying to be. Like I'm not this overly hyper political conservative Southern Christian girl with an accent and like granola and like yeah rah mission trips, like all that. That's not me, you know what I mean? I know who I am. That only falls on me. That has nothing to do with anyone else. It has everything to do with what I chose to do and the path I chose to follow. So I am done doing that, and I would recommend like the sooner you stop doing that, the more authentic and real your college experience will be. What are you looking forward to this semester? I am looking forward to so much this semester. I'm looking forward to really being intentional about pursuing my dreams and my goals outside of Baylor with the resources I have here. I'm looking forward to finally taking business classes like within the major I chose, which is entrepreneurship and corporate innovation. I'm so excited to be taking real concentrated classes on that subject. I'm looking forward to expanding our Network of Enlightened Women chapter here on campus and like really making it something big here on campus. We have a lot of ideas and plans and goals for this semester, but also up into our senior senior year, like which is the year after this one, we have plans and goals and different ideas that I'm so excited to execute with my amazing team of leaders for our chapter. And I'm excited to go to football games. I made it a point, like I am not missing any more football games. I've never been to a basketball game either, so I'm excited to start going to those because I missed out my first 2 years on going to any basketball games, especially one I will forever regret not going to is the national championship in 2021. That was a very traumatic night, but we're fine. It's gonna be fine, like whatever. And I'm hoping to go to a lot more games and having just a lot more fun and really making the most of it, really taking my future career goals and dreams seriously and not worrying about FOMO too much. Oh my gosh, I had so much FOMO, guys, like my first 2 years here. I'm not worried about that no more. I've been to a party, I didn't like it. You know, did all the things that I liked and didn't like, and I'm done doing all of that. We're just gonna do what makes sense and do what would glorify God and do, honestly, what pleases God, but also I enjoy doing. How to join and get involved with new at Baylor. So this is an amazing question, and this I guess would go for any organization. Like we do have a late night, it's called late night, where it's basically all the different student organizations kind of like set up their tables in their booths, and like new students and incoming students can kind of visit all of the different organizations that interest them, and they see what they're all about and see how they can get connected if they're like really interested in joining. And so that would probably be your first step. Your second step, a step that I would recommend, is to reach out to me or different leaders of the organizations or members that are already connected with new that you know, or any organization for that matter. Just like talk to them, because we can kind of give you that accessibility. I guess it would probably be a lot easier process than maybe just waiting till school. Like I know if you contact me and you have any questions at all, DM me on Instagram at Hixa Rose, it's like what I like to call it, but DM me there with any questions you have and I can definitely help you out. Reach out online and then like go to the organizational fair that your school may have in the beginning of the year and get connected there. Those are some different ways to get involved with not only the Network of Enlightened Women chapter, but like other organizations that anyone else would be interested in. Tips for finding the right church, there is literally so many. So if you're like me, where you have to kind of try every option available to you before you make a decision, that's what you're gonna have to do. Like I had to try all of these different churches out before I found the one that I just continued to go to and just felt more at home in, I guess. And that's gonna take time, and it's okay for it to take time. I know that they encourage you like, oh, get connected right away and join a small group and do this. But you don't have to do all that, especially if you are a first timer or like if you have not been here for a while. Like take your time and be patient with getting to know all the churches around before you make the decision of which church you're gonna decide to go to. Don't rush into all of these things that they're probably gonna throw at your face. Be patient and take your time, and just know that it takes time, and it's okay to go to different churches, feel all of them out before you find the one that I guess you like the best. Go with friends. I think that could also affect your experience at a church. Take your time with the process. Like don't try and rush into all of these things that they're going to tell you to do. Just relax, okay? It's gonna be fine. Someone said, can I go to church with you? Absolutely. I go to Antioch Community Church outside of campus. It's a great church. I'd recommend anyone to go to church. Go to church. Go to church. That's it. So sure. We have, what is your definition of leadership? Love you, sis. So I love you too, Christina. I love you. This is a question. Okay, this is a question. I honestly wouldn't consider myself a leader in the practical sense or in the traditional sense. I like being in control of things that I'm in control of and that require only me to do it. But I don't like having the responsibility of people looking to me for answers or for tasks or for things to do. I don't like telling people what to do. I don't like saying no to people. I don't like being in a position of authority. And I know that's not all of what leadership is in the literal sense. Like I like to do what needs to get done. I like to have control of things that I'm responsible for. But if it requires like other people or the responsibility of other people, I like don't know what to do and I like freak out. And I'm getting better at that because I'm not like where I used to be, but it's definitely something that I've had to exercise and had to build a skill for. There are leadership positions that I'm in that I know are going to continue to grow that aspect of myself. I just became a student manager for the on-campus job I work in, and I'm uncomfortable, but I know that it takes being in a position of leadership to really build that leadership characteristic or quality of your life, and I'm really praying and hoping that the positions I've been put in will do that. In terms of the definition of leadership, I would say, like, in a general aspect, like being an example and being a good one, not in a way that's like do this, do that, authority, this, that. You're an example in a way that you respect, care for the people you are leading so that they can become efficient and effective leaders, is what I would say. I don't know if that's a good answer. What did you look for when choosing a new church for your freshman year? I'll be looking. Elsa, I'll be looking with you in terms of, like, if you need any help at all, you know who to call. I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. Like, when it came to finding a church when I first came to Baylor, I didn't really know what to look for, because before Baylor, like, we went to one church and it was because it was the closest to our house. That's the only reason we went there at the end of the day. I didn't really know why we were there. I didn't know how they were different from any other church. It was actually the Salvation Army, which is, I know, is a completely different branch from, like, I guess the normal ones. To this day, like, it's been hard to really hone in on what it is someone should look for when looking for a church. I know, like, you want a church that's, like, biblically sound, okay? I would say that's probably the number one thing, is in alignment with the Bible, glorifying God. I think I used to look for churches that are, oh, you know, I feel comfortable, and oh, the worship songs are like 20 minutes long. I don't like anything longer than that, so I think that was cool. I like how it's structured. I like that it's big, and I like that the seats are like leather, and I like that it's like a Southern Belle church, and, you know, yeah, it's not about, like, being comfortable. It's not like feeling happy every time you are. It's about, like, does this church align with the Bible and glorify Jesus? I would say a good aspect is it looks to challenge its members and push them to be disciples and go out and spread the gospel, and to not fear those things. That's what I would look for nowadays. I think before that it was a lot more of the superficial things. I think it could help in terms of, like, immersing yourself in within a community that goes and pursues the gospel and, like, spreads it or whatever, but I don't think it should be a priority. So I know that was, like, a weird, windy answer, but hopefully it answered it. Elsa, I love you. Single best piece of advice you would say for a first-year college student? I love you so much. I love you too. Like I said, was just to be yourself. Don't be afraid of being yourself on campus and being intentional about the things you want out of this experience. Don't wait for things to fall in your lap. Go and pursue those things. Work hard at those things. That's the only way you're going to make the most of your experience, if that's what you're looking to do. It took being myself, being openly who I am in my beliefs and my values, my personality, for me to really gain the genuine experience that I have gained here. It also took a lot of hurtful experiences, people not wanting to speak with me anymore. Like, all these different things, right, that you would experience. With that, it was all worth it because I found the people that were truly for me, the opportunities that were truly for me. I know that's the most cliche thing anyone could ever say, but it's so true. And I think college is a place where it's meant for you to grow in that aspect. Trying to discern whether or not to rush, advice for a Christian freshman. Okay, so for those who don't know, I did not rush. I had no interest in joining Greek life. I had no interest in being in a sorority. I had no interest in any of that. Like, I grew up not really, I didn't know what any of that was. I know there are a lot of people who have mothers or sisters or family members who have been through the sorority life and have joined a specific sorority, and so, like, that becomes their dream when they come to college. Like, I have to join the sorority, or I just have to be in Greek life in general. That wasn't me. And so since I wasn't familiar with that, like, I had no interest in pursuing that. But that's my perspective. To me, it's just not something that's worth doing in the long run for me. And I'll go over the pros and cons for me, and then hopefully that can help you in your guidance of whether to rush or not. pro that I see in joining a sorority would be like the experience you get out of it. I mean, when they promote their experiences and like broadcast it on social media and all these different things, it seems like they have the best time out of everyone on campus, like with their dances, intramural sports, games, events, and like activities that they do. It seems like a grand time. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it seems pretty fun, and sometimes I get FOMO just a little bit because I'm not in a sorority and I don't, like, that wouldn't happen for me. So I would say that's the biggest thing. I think the second thing, the status and the recognition you get for being a part of a certain sorority, not just within college, because at Baylor, let me tell you something about Baylor. The good thing about Baylor is that there is a balance of like Greek life and not Greek life. Like, we don't have like official Greek life houses, fraternities and sororities. Like, we don't have official houses. It's not like the biggest deal ever whether you're in a sorority or not. Like, you aren't treated differently if you're not in a sorority, unless you're probably, I don't know, immersed deeply into those groups without actually being in one. You won't feel like an outcast, I guess, for not being in a sorority here at Baylor, which is really, I'm really grateful for that, because I know there are a lot of other schools that prioritize Greek life and like prop it up to be the epitome of what it means to be a college student there. I'm glad Baylor isn't one of those schools. The kind of stamp you get on your back from being in one of these fraternities or sororities that could carry you on for the rest of your life when you're applying for jobs or different opportunities, I think is a good feature of being in Greek life. I would say, I mean, I guess the friendships too, if they're even real. I don't know, like, if they're real or not. I've heard a lot of different things, but if they are real, I guess friendships you would make within your sorority are a good thing to have. But I think for me, the cons overweighed the pros by a lot, and this was just through what I hoped to get out of a college experience, what my goals were when I was coming to college, and if Greek life had any proficient role to play in pursuing those things, and it just didn't. I think the cons for me was that it was extremely expensive. I know you have to pay dues every once in a while, like either every month or every semester, I don't know, and they just, like, to me, I couldn't afford the prices that they were expecting from their members. I know there were scholarships and stuff. To me, it just wasn't worth going through that process. For what I was getting out of it, it wasn't worth the money to put in, if you get what I'm saying. I would say also, I think the biggest thing for me was when you're in Greek life, when you're in a specific fraternity, but I think more so a sorority, you have to uphold a certain image. At least that's what it looks like, or reputation, because now you are representing the sorority that you're a part of. You are representing them, and with that comes a certain presentation of yourself that you have to uphold. For me, I feel like that would feel more binding and constricting than anything. Maybe it's not as constricting as I'm thinking it is, but I think to me, any sort of constriction where I'm not able to freely express who I am and express myself is just something that's not worth being a part of to me. For people who just naturally fit in to those different groups and all of that, it will be easy for them because they don't really have to change anything about themselves, because it goes into social media too. Like, there are certain things you can't post, there are certain things like you can't say. From the outside looking in, looks a bit artificial. I'm just gonna keep it a band. I think the biggest thing is that I don't think I have the personality to fit any one of these sororities. I'm gonna be honest. Like, you take the image of a sorority girl at Baylor University. I know they don't like push the idea of you acting a certain way or like having a certain personality. I think in terms of like the bidding, judging process or the admission process to get into a sorority, they want to make sure, I think, you fit in and align with their values and probably have a personality that would be compatible with the rest of the sorority. So you kind of have to have certain attributes, whether personality wise or physically. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Okay, I'm just saying, that fit into some of these sororities. So, but I think for me, I just don't fit in that way. Like, I don't see my personality really molding into any of these sororities. But we also have like black fraternities and sororities too, and I don't think I'd fit into any one of those either. Just with all of those cons outweighing the pros like that, like, I did not see it beneficial for me in any way to really invest into something like that, and I'm really glad I didn't, because I can make friends for free outside of my sorority. I can be myself, and I have friends like within sororities and they really love love and enjoy their experience, and like they feel like they belong there, and I'm very happy for them, and I kind of get an aspect into that life as well, you know, through them. And I think for me that's enough. I know that wasn't like a more Christian based answer, but I hope it answered it from the extent, like from my perspective of things. In terms of like whether it's a Christian thing to do or not, I honestly just don't know. I think that's something you're gonna have to just take up to God and answer to God, because I genuinely don't know. It just didn't seem the most appealing to me. If I had to pick a sorority that I would join, I would say Pi Phi or maybe Chi O. I've met with some of the girls in there. I like them. And that's just Baylor, okay? Pi Phi is another campuses. Probably are different than Baylor's, but I like Baylor's Pi Phi thing. Churches in Waco you recommend, biblically sound and community. I honestly don't have any personal recommendations. I go to Antioch and I like Antioch, but I am, to be actually honest, like I am willing to explore other churches at this time. I'm kind of like in this transition phase for a lot of things. I like Antioch and it's fine. Highland I've been to a few times. They're biblically sound and really like follow along with the Bible, and they're more like theological in a way. Antioch's more like Holy Spirit led and all of those things. They do follow the Bible. They are more like Holy Spirit like led. Honestly, it just takes really exploring the churches. I don't really have a personal endorsement or recommendation, because I'm honestly like open to experiencing something different than what I have been. I'm gonna keep it a band. It's all up to the individual and just like where they think God is leading them. I hope to meet you, because I know who answered this question. I hope to meet you like during the school year and see like what you have found. Is the entrepreneurship business program difficult? I wouldn't know, because I am starting my first classes in the fall. So I'll get back to you during winter break if I do another Q&A. I heard it's like healthfully challenging, but it's like also like an enjoyable time. Like people enjoy themselves. They really get something out of the program, and I'm really looking forward to that. You know, sometimes you go through school, especially my high school years, you go through school like just hoping to get the grade, not really looking to learn anything from any of your classes. You're just looking to take the test and do well, do the homework and do it well and get the grade for it. But I think with this program, like, and what I'm paying for it, I'm really hoping to learn and be challenged and grow in that. So I'm really expecting for that to happen with this entrepreneurship program. Somebody said, how are you single? I don't get it. Girl, let me tell you something for real. I don't get it either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of a big deal at the end of the day. I'm kind of like the one. But that was a joke. But I don't know what to say about that. And I know who answered this question, and I love you for it. So I love you, Halford. All I have to say is that I came into college like really like, I need a boyfriend right now. I need to get married ring by spring, because that's a big deal. Not only Baylor, but a lot of Christian campuses, like relationships, marriage, engagement. I can look back and thank God that I have been single not only since college, but my entire life. I look back at who I was even a year ago, and I'm like, I was not ready to be in any sort of relationship at this time, especially with the goals and like desires and the dreams I have now. I don't know if I'm ready to share that with someone or invite someone into that process like that intimately. I really thrive off of autonomy and like having control of the things that are meant for me, right? I think adding another person into that would be really distracting. And so I'm really glad that even though that's something I desperately did want my first 2 years here, I didn't get that experience. It wasn't even about like I was rejecting people, because you know people in my line, people calling me up like, hey, let me take you out, and I'm like, nah, that's not what happened. It was more so like I didn't have the opportunity presented or afforded to me to be able to be put in that position that I wasn't single anymore, or that I was in a relationship. I'm really grateful for that, because if given the opportunity, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. It didn't matter if they were a good quality person or not. Like the idea of being in a relationship to me has just always been something that I desired forever. I feel really protected by God in that way, that like I wasn't put into a situation that would ultimately end up hurting me more than it would helping me. I've come to a point now with like all these newfound desires and dreams and goals that I have, at least for the short term. I need to be very careful of who I let into that process, into my circle. And I just think a relationship right now would be so distracting for me. I get very distracted. You have so much freedom. You don't have to answer to anyone. And it's just so nice. It's so nice. I can't lie. Especially for where I'm at, my position right now, where I'm at, like it's the best position for me to be in. I'm single kind of because I want to be, but I'm also single because I've been protected by the divine hand of God. Amen. Okay, next question. Is Baylor a solid Christian university? This one's hard. I'll begin with saying I chose Baylor because it was set apart from all the secular universities or the pretend Christian universities. I really thought Baylor was like as unapologetically Christian as like they claimed to be, and that's why I went because I knew that they would uphold standards and refuse to conform to the world or culture or society, and they set themselves apart. I think when people like think of a Christian school, at least for the most part, they truly want that experience and to know that like the school that they're going to is credible in that way. I wouldn't say Baylor is the most solid Christian school out there, especially like throughout the years that I've been here. Like it's becoming less and less biblically solid. Like the foundation of it is becoming less biblical and like leaning more towards conforming to the society around them, which is sad. I didn't come because it was like every other school, and I think that's what they are slowly and gradually starting to become. It's disappointing, but I mean, it's like at the end of the day, like, I don't know, I'm here. It's not fallen all the way off yet, so I'm hoping by the time I graduate, it hasn't become this like secular school that just is Christian in name only. I don't think they are anywhere near the unapologetically Christian school that they claim to be. I think the biggest example of that would be the recent chartering of the LGBTQ organization here. And at that point, I think they apologized for being Christian. They really did apologize, contrary to their unapologetically Christian stance. It's not the most solid. I don't think it's like TCU or anything where they literally tell the people that tour there, you can make the C, like, because it's Texas Christian University, they say like you can make the C as large or small as you want. I wouldn't say it's like Dallas Baptist, where I think they have been very solid in their beliefs and their foundation. It's kind of in the middle, and I'm not like too happy about it. It's like, I'm already here, so what are you gonna do? So that's what I'd say. Anyone else, they would probably have like a different opinion maybe. Like, I don't know what other people think about the credibility in terms of like a Christian foundation of Baylor, but that would be my outlook on it. Do you feel pressure being single in today's get married young Christian culture? I feel it everywhere, okay? I feel it all the time. So I came to Baylor, like I said, like I needed to find someone and I need to get married before I graduate, and I need to have a ring on my finger. Spring of 2024, that's the only way to do it at Baylor University, is a ring by spring. For those who don't know, a ring by spring is basically like the phenomenon where you get married the spring of your senior year, or like you get engaged. And I fell into that. I thought that that's what I had to do to really experience like the fulfillment of life. That was due, I think, to the pressure to pursue that, especially as women, especially as Christian women. And I'm starting to realize that like that's okay if that's not your story. It's okay if you go to a Christian school and don't get married by the time you graduate. Like, it's okay. You did not fail at life. Like, I really was like, if I don't get married my senior year, I have failed at everything, and there's no point in like doing anything anymore. Like, that's what I used to think, that my whole life was banking on getting married. And it's just like, I can kind of relax and be like, I almost don't want to get married by the time I graduate. I'm fine with like waiting a few more years and pursuing these goals that I have before it's time for me to get married. That's just me though. I'm just gonna tell you right now, you don't have to conform to that if that's not what you want for yourself. I really thought that's what I wanted for myself for a very long time, and I still want those things. I still want to get married. I still want to be like a stay-at-home mom. I still want to do all those things, but it's fine if it happens later in life. It's okay if it happens beyond graduation. What is the dating pool like? I don't know. I'm gonna share from my perspective. You know, they tell you, especially at Baylor, like, oh, look within the church, look within the church, look within the church. For those who are really trying to find like a genuine husband and like wife or whatever. But like, I look within the church, right? I just like, it's just like, first of all, there are not many options, A. B, it's not like I've really, I don't know, connected with anyone at church in that way. And C, like I have gotten to know, you know, some people there. I just feel like in terms of compatibility, like yeah, we both pursue Christ, both very devoted to that. But in terms of like compatibility, in terms of personality, other things that are kind of like secondary to the main things that you should be looking for, I'm not really compatible with anyone. I feel like I like to describe myself as like very colorful in terms of like my personality when it's in comparison to the people at the church. I just don't think I fit in. I'm just gonna keep it a band. Like I don't think I fit in at all at like any of these churches, low-key. There's a certain image being portrayed of what the ideal Christian girl is, like a lot of these churches, and I don't fit into any of them. And I thought like because I didn't fit into any of those molds, like that I wasn't being a real Christian, or like I wasn't being an authentic Christian, or that I was being more worldly. And it's just like, no, that's just not my personality. I'm also not even from here. Like why should I expect myself to act like that? And I mean, most of them probably aren't from here anyway either. There's just, I'm like so stressed. It feels like there is like a majority in these churches that like they act a certain way. I feel like there's like a granola personality that dominates, and I'm not that. Like I'm not that. Goes into the dating thing of just like I don't fit in here. And so in terms of like on campus, there comes a point where even though you may not know everyone like in your class or know everyone on campus, you know someone who knows someone. It becomes like a very small community very fast. You've seen it all and you're just like, this doesn't work, okay? And then there are groups that you don't know about or you aren't really familiar with, but just because of like your disalignment in values, you already know it's not gonna work. I really came to Baylor like thinking like, okay, this is a new group of people. We're done with California men. We're done with all that. This is the South, okay? This is the South, and we're gonna get real stuff going on happening. It's not what I thought it was, and it's not for me. And I'm not gonna like generalize the South and Texas off of literally Waco and Baylor. I'm okay with what I know, and I know it's just probably not for me. That was kind of a very long-winded answer for no reason, but I hope that helped. Finding a church community at school. When I was like really heavily involved in the church, especially like my freshman year, it was so easy to kind of like find a community at the church or like within school or whatever. There are a lot of Christian organizations on campus. They're not really affiliated with the church. They're kind of their own entity, but they work probably closely with some of the churches within Waco. So I would say like get plugged into those if you're really looking for like a church Christ-filled community on campus. Like I know there's Baptist Student Ministries. I think there's just one called Chi Alpha, and just like I don't know, there are a few others, but once you get plugged into those clubs and organizations, usually from there you can kind of be open to opportunities and relationships and communities that you are looking for. A lot of these churches within Waco also push on life groups and small groups and community groups and groups and groups and groups. So if that's what you're looking for as well, like they make it a point to get you connected as easily and as quickly as possible. So if that's something you're looking for, that shouldn't be a problem at any of these churches you plan to be a part of. And yeah, just try different ones out and see which one fits you the best if that's what you're looking for. Is it harder to make friends when you live off campus? Not really. We lived in the dorms, like my class lived in the dorms during kind of like the end of the peak of COVID-19, and so like when it came to like socializing and all of that, it was already hard to do that. So I wouldn't really know a normal experience with living on campus if it's easier than off campus. But because of social media, because of knowing people who know other people, because of being involved in different clubs and organizations, and even through my job, like I meet people every day, because of all of that and just being immersed in Baylor and all of that, like it's been easier for me than like when I first came. So I would really take use of social media. I would really get involved in whatever organizations interest you. Go from there, because I don't think it takes living on campus to really like getting to know everyone. I think because it's your first time and you don't know what you're doing and all that, it kind of limits you from really going out and making friends. But like once you have your footing, it doesn't really matter where you are. If you're intentional about the friendships you have and making friends, like you will find them. And you don't need that many friends anyway. It's probably a lot better if you have your few friends that you can keep track of and really be intentional about building relationships than like knowing all these people and trying to meet up with them once a semester or something. That's what I'd say. I think it's become a lot easier like now that I have my footing, and being off campus I think is great, but that's probably because I lived in the dorms during COVID season and it was not fun. I think it's a lot better of an experience living off campus, but that's just me. All right guys, so that is it for all of the questions. I actually really enjoyed answering the questions this time around, just talking with you guys and like giving the advice that I wish I got like before I got to Baylor. So let me know if you want me to do more of these, but make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I can't wait to do another video for you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Also, you guys like my hair today. It's so cute, huh? Got it done. Okay, we don't want. Okay, gotta go.